participating in that with me. And it's really appropriate because December is all about diversity and inclusivity. That's a good word. February, what did I say?
December.
Wow! That's wild.
Snowing outside.
So this month we stand in our commitment and devotion to our spiritual principles and practices, and this is something we're doing all year long. They're easy words to say, don't you think? Oh yeah, I believe in diversity. Oh yeah, I believe in inclusivity. Like, it's easy to let that roll off our tongues, and yet I find it much harder to practice in all aspects of my life. Centers for Spiritual Living across the world are practicing our values. We're embracing and celebrating our individual uniqueness, and the contribution all people have as they express through their differences, whether it be gender, ethnicity, culture, history, experience, talents, and sexual orientation. It doesn't matter. We celebrate it all. And yes, to be human is to embody this paradox, don't you think? We're both human and spirit, and a mashup of the divine perfection with all our human flaws. The personal challenge for each of us is to live within this paradox and somehow make sense of it, to overcome our human errors and to somehow find our way, seeking a fuller and richer divine expression. Ernest Holmes says that, what does he say? But the mind is filled with the accumulated doubts of the ages, as though the vast abyss of doubt, fear, and uncertainty were standing between you and your desires. And it's a wonder how the theme every month happens to play out in my life. It provides me with opportunity, and I find family dynamics the perfect place to see diversity in action. It's probably the least obvious. I think that we can look out there and look at the vast scope of obvious diversity, but within my own family, there's much diversity. And I'm talking about our family of origin. We're born into this unique opportunity to collide with our growth edge. Our growth edge isn't a place of comfort, it's a place of discomfort, because when we're up against it, it's that place of newness. To step past it and through it is something that we've never done before, so of course we're nervous, of course we're sabotaging, of course we're doing everything to avoid it. We want to keep on doing what's familiar and comfortable. We won't grow in the familiar and comfortable. And the truth about who we are as the divine part, the spiritual part, is that we are growing and expanding all the time. So when we resist it, when we resist that natural evolution of who we are, we create trouble in so many ways. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? So think about that thing that you think's missing in your family of origin, that thing that you always wish you had from them that wasn't present. Can you think of an idea? Was it maybe love or support? Or maybe it was strength? Or maybe it was understanding? Can you think of something, and maybe this isn't you, but I would be surprised to think that not most people felt like in some way there was something that their family didn't quite provide for them, and if only they had been more. Well, what I've learned over the years is that, well, first of all, let me ask, how many of you feel like an outsider in your family, and that you're different than everybody else? Oh, only a few of us. I know it's tough for you guys because you're in the room together, but we're talking family of origin, not your mom to your daughter. We're talking family of origin, your parents or your siblings, if you felt as an outsider to them. And 10 years, yeah, not today. I'm talking about that whole growth when we're in our childhood growing up. It could be today. Well, that very thing that was missing in your family, what I had brought to my awareness, isn't the thing that we were supposed to get from our family. It was actually the thing we were here to bring. And I thought, wow, that's an interesting twist. You know, for me, that thing that was missing was the feeling of being loved for who I am and accepted the way I am. And And that's my gift to them. Do you get that? It's so very interesting to me when I flip it around and see, I have no problem giving that to you, but somehow in my family of origin, I want it from them. And I never had the thought that it was mine to bring to them. That's the paradox. That's the human paradox that is at play. And spirituality is more of a journey toward acceptance than an attempt at perfection. Self-love and acceptance is the key to growth, and without it, we can't move forward. So what I first had to do is not accept this love and acceptance from them, but I had to get it for myself. I had to figure out how to love and accept myself, to work with my own sense of being. And I had to whittle down to one idea that was missing a link for me, and it was self-love. It was interesting, while meditating this morning, I had a vision very clear come up, and I've been in conversation over the last week or more with my siblings, and I saw myself in a playpen, and my brother, who's 5 years older than me, was outside of the playpen, of course, and I desperately wanted his love and affection. Oh, so desperately wanted his love and affection. And finding it impossible to get it. No matter what I did, it just didn't matter what I did or didn't do, because I threatened his very existence. I was the first girl born, and by nature of that, I was his nemesis. There was nothing I could do about that. I automatically won over my father because I was a little girl, and he lost his favor. So now I became this challenge in his life that he never was able to reconcile. And it's so interesting because 53 years later, yes, that's how old I am, I can still see it playing out. How he still has this thing with me where he wishes I just didn't exist. And it was so painful, not anymore because I see it for what it is, but it was so painful, just desperately. I remember one story when he used to babysit as we were growing older, and he was old enough to babysit, and Mom and Dad would leave us alone, and little sister would go to bed, and I'd be up because I got time with my brother. Like, this was just so great. And I would do anything to get close to him. And so I would tell him I was afraid, and I wanted to sleep in his bed with him because Mom and Dad weren't home. And so I'd beg him, please, please, can I sleep with you? And he'd go, fine, but you're sleeping on the outside, so when the robbers come, they get you first. You know, like, that was his way of demonstrating love, right? I mean, as a little girl, it's like, anything. I don't care if the robber gets me. I just want to be close to you. That's how desperate I was, but that's how opposed he was, right? He just would rather I just didn't exist. I'm both spirit and human. I'm a mashup of the divine perfection and the human flaws. When he was sticking the magazines between me and him in the car going, ew, don't touch me, you smell. You know, those ideas grew up with me. I smelled, I'm ugly, I'm fat, all those things he told me. He was my God. I was desperate for his acceptance, and I would do anything. And so the work begins with myself. I had to first heal those parts of myself that were so wounded. I had to find that place within that Ernest Holmes says, you are an eternal being, now on the pathway of endless unfoldment, nevertheless, but always more of yourself. Never less, but more of yourself. So who was I in that? How could I discover me when I was so desperately trying to be something that he might love? I didn't know who I was. And so it's been a journey of uncovering this Jill and who I am and what I desire and what is my place in the world and who am I going to be. And so what I learned was this work is with myself, as Emerson says. This is my most favorite quote of all times right now. Emerson says, I must be myself. I cannot break myself any longer for you or you. If you can love me for what I am, we shall be happier. If you cannot, I will seek to deserve that you should. Oops, I lost my page. I must be myself. I will not hide my tastes or aversions. I will so trust that what is deep and holy, that I will do strongly before the sun and the moon, whatever in life rejoices me and the heart appoints. If you are noble, I will love you. If you are not, I will not hurt you and myself by hypocritical attentions. If you are true, but not in the same truth with me, cleave to your own companions. I'll seek my own. I do this not selfishly, but humbly and truly. It is alike your interest and mine and all men's, however long we have dwelt in lies, to live in truth. Does this sound harsh today? You will soon love what is dedicated by your nature as well as mine. And if we follow the truth, it will bring us together out and safe at last. I believe this. I came to honor that self within me that just must be no matter what. Knowing that as I gave myself permission, that I gave other people around me the same permission. I seek to love and honor myself. And in so doing, I build the love and honor all my brothers and sisters in a way that they deserve. It is for each one of us our right to be loved, and we are. Divine inspiration tells us so. Regardless of our appearances of what's happening out there, there's only one truth. This is our faith and our practice. Is it easy? No. When my brothers are throwing temper tantrums and calling out names and trying to manipulate me by their anger, by their words, I have to remain true to myself. You know, there's my sister and I, we've been working, hi siblings if you happen to be watching this. That's what happens when you have a sister in this profession. Anyway, we happen to be working on a email dialogue back to them, and both my brothers, I have two older brothers and a younger sister, and so my sister and I are collaborating, trying to think, oh, what do we say to that last email? And it's so interesting because we both look at it and go, well, if we say anything except what they want to hear, it's liable to receive the same temper. But then we're not speaking our truth, and we're not being true to ourselves. And so in light of that, you know, we've taken the last 3 or 4 days to just kind of mull it over and give drafts back and forth. I mean, crazy. But to be in truth in our response, no matter what happens, right? The appearances, I know my brothers love me. I know no matter what they do or what they say, it's only from a place of their own inner confusion. I'm not right, but I'm right for me. And I need to stand fast in that. I need to speak my truth and move forward in that. And not allow anything ever to step or blindside me from that. This is where inclusivity and diversity begins. Here. If we can't accept the truth of who we are, if we can't walk that path straight in our own shoes and talk our own truth, you know, it's difficult to come up in front of a crowd of people and say, this is what I believe, and not worry about the backlash of that. It takes courage and strength to stand in our own shoes and say, this is who I am, and this is what works for me. And when we can accept ourselves at this deepest level, then we can turn to our brothers and sisters and do the same. But it has to happen here first. Emerson observed that there's a crack in everything God has made, he says. Perhaps it's through this crack where spirit enters. Perhaps our open wounds are an open invitation for healing. Ernest Holmes says, in that inner sanctuary of our own nature, hidden perhaps from objective gaze, nestles the seed, perfection. So am I saying I have it all figured out? Hell no. I was singing that song. Hell no, no. I don't know how it goes anyway. Hell no. I continue to grow, and you know what? My darn family continues to give me the opportunity to grow. I was in our practitioner class on Tuesday, and one of them, practitioner training class, and one of them said, Or, are you telling me you haven't got it all figured out? I'm like, yeah, no. No, it's a process. I continue to learn to love myself and to stand in my truth. If I had done it already, I wouldn't even be here. This is the human journey. It's interesting. It's a paradox. We're always bringing together our divine nature with our human nature and finding that place of understanding and bliss and growth, trusting and knowing as we expand into a bigger idea. Each time I pray to accept myself, and I pray to accept each and every person, honoring my differences and their differences, trusting all the time. The thing is our human story isn't actually that interesting, because we all have our wounds and challenges no matter what. They are commonplace for everyone. Everyone. I can just bet on it, you sitting in these chairs today, at some level, feel wounded. And everyone watching, and everyone out there who says, no, not me, I'm fine. Yeah, I don't believe that. We're always healing towards a bigger idea of who we are. And so, this is what makes the difference of knowing that we're okay just the way we are. We're always moving towards self-appreciation. So let us band together and accept ourselves, all our faults, all our attributes, and to know ourselves as divine lights, divine beings expressing individually, differently, diversely. And let's take that acceptance out into the world. In the name of love, we see us all as one. Have a little affirmation, and I'll weave it into prayer after. I am a perfect spiritual being. And if you want to repeat it, you can in your head. I am a perfect spiritual being, living through an imperfect human experience. I am guided into wholeness by the divine. And join me in prayer if you will. There is just one life, one spirit, in all its diversity everywhere, expressing perfectly, effortlessly. It is me, it is my life. And all that I do and all that I say and all that I am is okay. I am perfect just the way I am. I need not change who I am for any person, place, or experience. I get to be wholeheartedly me, knowing that as I love and accept the truth of my very individual being, in all my quirks and all my fancies, I get to also celebrate the quirks and fancies of each and every person and dance this beautiful, unique dance of humanity. Oh, it is so rich and so glorious. And so I give great thanks. Learning this permission to be me. Learning that I too can accept others for who they are. That I can bring love and light to every conversation, every experience, knowing that it is transformed just by my own self-acceptance. And so I surrender and I let go, knowing the healing in every experience is already beginning. Spirit is everywhere present. It's unavoidable. And so it is good. And together we say, and so it is. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Jill, for that. I know I was listening and was reminded I was the middle one in my family and suffered for many years from middle childhood syndrome and was also the black sheep. And then I went to a period in time where I wasn't the scapegoat and the black sheep, and now I got that label back again, but that's okay. I love my siblings anyway. Yeah. So now this is the time for our financial contribution. And we're a center that runs on your generosity, and if you're a guest we welcome you to be our guest, and then we thank those, and I just want to let you know that the money is spent wisely in creating this wonderful space and classes and a place for us to grow, for all of us to grow individually. So now Jamie will play our, read, yeah, right. I'm going to read the affirmation on the back, which I'll have to go get my envelope now. I live in a universe of abundance
as I freely and joyfully give. I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me, multiplied abundantly, and so it is.